Speed secrets. Today we're looking at the Fireblade that I got for vintage racing. This is something I don't know much about at all, so everything I learn I'm going to try to share. I also purchased another one, so I have a bunch of parts. I also purchased a lot of new in-package parts. So I have new arms, front and rear, hubs, some steering parts. I've got extra spur gear, C-clips, some wheels. I even picked up a Penguin body. So I got the Penguin remakes, their bodies with an under tray, a gear cover, and a wing. I've got some older tires and wheels. So I'm familiar with a lot of the more modern Schumachers, and then I just recently built a Cougar Works 2. But this car is a completely different kind of cat. Even though it's a Fireblade, it's very similar from what I can tell to a Cougar of the same, like a Cougar 2000. Since this is an older RC car, I noticed it still has the C-clips. Hence why I got a new bag of new C-clips. The steering parts are more modern-ish, like the Cougar SVR or SV that I'm more familiar with. I'm going to change out all of the ball cups, probably to something a bit more modern. I noticed on this side, that ball cup isn't even matching this car, so I will have to go through those. The shocks seem to be the upgraded version. They have the nice anodized body, and then also the shock ends or caps are the purple anodizing. No carbon fiber on this. I believe that is still S1, even though it has that weave pattern. I'm pretty sure this is S1 material, similar to some of the on-road cars I've gotten in the past. Here's a shot of the rear shock tower. So something I noticed on the rear shock tower, it leans back, and maybe that is a Evo style shock tower. I mean, it matches up with the transmission housing, but it definitely has a lean back. So I thought that was interesting. I think I'm going to have to order new or extra blades for the drive shafts. I did also notice these look to be upgraded CV style, so that was kind of nice. Had a quick battery change. So that antenna post looks pretty cool. Anodized purple. This car does have the upgraded slipper system, but not the hydro drive or viscous drive that some of the cars had. I need to put new wing mounts on here. These just are temporary. I wanted to see if a more modern wing mount would fit, and it does. So I'm going to be able to put something modern on there. Now, something I am missing is the center battery tray bar. So I'm going to have to figure out how to mount the battery. Also, I do not have servo mounts, so I'm going to need servo mounts for that. It looks like it has everything else. The servo saver, all of the steering linkages, everything like that seems to be good. This car was definitely in good shape. I don't know how much it was run in the past, but I can tell it's not been used too harshly or on outside dirt. It might have been run maybe on carpet or AstroTurf, something like that. I noticed a couple screws are missing from the front bumper just now. It's got that cool brace that goes across to tie in that shock tower, because the shock tower is a split style. It doesn't have it's not one solid bar across, so that probably helps with some flex. So yeah, this is just a first look at the car. I really haven't even taken the wheels or tires off of it yet, so I will probably find out more about it as time goes on. But I'm pretty excited. One of the cool things they re-released was 3-spoke wheels again, U1615. Just for the rears, they do have four-wheel drive fronts, but no two-wheel drive fronts yet. And then I'll show this body one more time. So it comes from Penguin. I ordered it. It was really fast to come across the ocean to the United States. And it does have the under tray, so I will be able to run the under tray, and then I got the gear cover that they make for it to protect that spur gear area. This is the body that came with the other car, like the parts car, which I believe is from a Fireblade 2000, because of the back part of the body is more consistent with the other type of shock tower and shock layout, versus the Evo has a real wide shock tower, so the body doesn't have to accommodate for that. So that new Penguin body will work on this. And here's a closer look at that other car that I have that's just currently in pieces. One of the big differences I did notice is the transmission seems to be completely different on the rear. So this is like an older style. I believe it's still 3-gear. It doesn't have a belt in it like the older Cougar Works. But the newer Evo car definitely has a different transmission compared to the 2000. Another difference I noticed is the transmission does not sit down into the chassis itself, so you don't see a cutout on the bottom of it, where on this car you do see that cutout. So the transmission does sit a little lower. And that could be one of the main differences. The other difference is right here on the chassis. It's a little wider on this car versus this one kind of just ends. It does have a little kick out, but not much. And I also got a body for that other car too, so you can see that shape on the back, and then the side of it is just not as wide as this car. Everything else seems to be identical. The arms, the hubs, the hinge pins, the shocks are all plastic on this one. The rear motor guard is seems to be very similar to the other one. The drive shafts are a little different, so instead of that CV style, they're kind of like the U-joint, or maybe these are rebuildable. I'm not sure. They look like they're in really good shape. And here's another look at some of the older new parts I was able to acquire. So again, front and rear arms. I got the pivot pins, the front bulkhead, and some front hubs, and then the spur gear and an E-clip kit, just for all the ones that I might be missing. So that is the video about the second vintage car I'll be running this year. This is, of course, a later version of a Cougar or Fireblade chassis. So this will run in the newer of the 2 years, group of years. So I believe this is from like that 97, 98, 99 year group, where the other car is from the early 90s. And I'm not sure if I'll fix up the second car I have. It'll probably take a lot of work, but since I'm missing most of the hardware on that one, but could be worth it.